Hello, fight fans, and welcome to the Combat Challenge podcast. My guest today is a lightweight MMA athlete who is signed to the prestigious Brave Combat Federation. His professional record is 6 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw, and his amateur record was 6 wins with only 1 loss. Mr. Sam, the Future Patterson. Nice to see you, my brother.
Good, my mate. How you doing? Everything okay?
Good, good. Did you like the introduction?
Good. Man, spot on. Keep that spot on. That's on.
What can you do when you're silky smooth, brother? What can you do?
Best in the game. Here we go.
Thank you. Sam, first thing I got to ask you, brother, the fight name, The Future. Can you tell us the story? How did that come into fruition?
One of my coaches, training partners, Reece Stocker, that I've known for many years now. As soon as I come into the gym and everything, I think he just saw something. And going into, I think it was my pro debut, I knocked the guy out in the first round after winning 4 or 5 amateurs back to back. And he goes, "I'm the future." And some reason it stuck. Everyone started saying I was the future. Everyone around me calls me it. So that's what it is. Everyone calls me it, so it's stuck. And that's what we go with from now on.
On your first pro fight, your debut, you ended up knocking someone out. Can you tell us a bit about that fight and how did that come about?
Yeah, my pro debut was on a Fight Star Championship. It was like a local show.
That's Raj Randhawa.
Yes. Great guy, actually, and great show. So I fought on there for my pro debut and finished the guy in the first round. It was quite a funny story, actually. Like my whole amateur career, I didn't throw any punches. I just kicked everyone and then they would shoot in and I'd guillotine them. So I threw no punches. And then my pro debut, I just boxed the guy's face off and end up knocking him out. So it was quite funny how it all turned around.
Well, Raj, I've known for years, brother, and this is something you might not be aware of, but Raj used to compete on my show in Bradford as an MMA athlete. Yeah.
How the tables have turned, eh?
Yeah, man. And then he used to have a show in West Yorkshire, and then he did the one down south, and he decided to kind of invest all his time in the one in down south. So that's what.
Yeah, Fight Star Championship. It's a good show. I fought on there a few. Yeah, I won the amateur title there. I won the Fight Star amateur title welterweight, and then I turned pro on his show as well. So shout out to him, give me a platform to actually show off my skills.
For sure. Raj has been really good to me as well, and he's helped me and given me some contacts and stuff, since I got into this podcast stuff. So, props to Raj. Thank you, my brother.
No problem.
Well, the other thing is, you were saying that you used to use your kicks. Can you just let us know again, how tall are you?
6'3", so fighting in the lightweight division, my kicks are definitely an advantage on my part. Nice long legs, long arms. No one can really get close to me unless they shoot a takedown. And that's when I normally finish people. Everyone runs into my guillotine, so I end up submitting them. But yeah, man, 6'3", 155 pounds.
And have you always competed at that weight from amateur till now, or have you fluctuated?
I actually fought amateur welterweight because I wasn't getting paid for it, and I just loved the sport. Like I was working full time as well and everything, so I didn't really want to cut the weight. I was walking around probably about welterweight, if not like 79 kg. So I probably walk around heavier now than I did when I fought amateur welterweight. So I didn't want to cut no weight. So my whole amateur career, I kind of done it welterweight, and then when I turned pro and I started making some money, I decided to start cutting the weight and making the lightweight division.
Good on you, man. Well, it's an advantage, and you're utilizing your height, which will give you reach, right?
For sure, yeah, 100%. Like everyone I faced, to be fair, a couple of my opponents at pro have been pretty tall themselves. But I'm just pretty good at using my range and distance against them. And it's played in my favor so far.
You'll be like the Stefan Struve of UK for us, brother. That's what it is.
Yeah, hopefully. He's just saying that he's just retired. I just see on his Instagram, he just retired from the sport. But yeah, I'm definitely, if I stay in the lightweight division, maybe a couple more years once I get a bit older, my body fills out, I'll probably go up to welterweight, and I still won't be outside there, to be honest. Like I said, my amateur career, I wasn't outside the welterweight, and welterweight, lightweight, it doesn't really matter to me.
Well, what you need to do is put a message on Struve's Instagram saying, you've retired now. I'm the future. I'm the scaffolding that's going to come and deal with people.
I might keep eating the cake and get up to heavyweight myself and just fight there.
Well, we know a little bit about your amateur side and your weight and your height and stuff. Can you share with us your mixed martial arts journey, Sam, from a young age? What sort of sports you got into, and if you can lead us through that timeline, please?
No problem. I it's funny. I was doing a bit of Muay Thai like here and there when I was at school. Nothing serious. So I don't really count that. Then my little brother, my youngest brother, he was looking for somewhere to train and found a gym in Watford called Ginter's Combat. My little brother went there and come home and he was like, Sam, you got to see this coach. Like he fights professionally. He's like teaching the classes and everything. So I had a look and it was Corey Tate. You might have heard of him. Quite big in the UK a few years ago, and he's still competing today on Bellator. So I turned up and never looked back. Really, I started off there probably my whole teenage life. You know, like from 12, 13 to about 17, 18. And then unfortunately the gym closed. So I was training under Gintas Bakauskas, I could just about say his surname, and Corey Tate. And then the gym closed down, unfortunately. But as they were closing down, David Lee and Team Crossface moved into Watford. So I just transitioned straight over to there and never looked back, really. So ever since then, I've been at Team Crossface, fighting amateur, pro, and all the way to the top from here.
And am I right in thinking David Lee, was he on the UFC back in the days?
Yes, he fought in the UFC twice. The mind, he's unbelievable, you know, like it's thanks to him I am where I am now. You know, I've got many training partners and everything, but Dave's got a solid mind for the game and he's helped me evolve in the game as I go along, keeping me humble and definitely going all the way to the top thanks to that guy.
And it's good when you can click with someone and you kind of just understand each other, because sometimes you don't even have to be the verbal, it's just getting the feel of each other. And if you can get on with a coach, it really helps, right?
100%. David Lee's like my head coach and everything from my grappling through to MMA. Like I don't have a striking coach, a grappling coach. I have David Lee and he's under everything. So props to him and we'll see. I'll keep performing and it'll be thanks to him.
So at Team Crossface, he's the one that kind of incorporates everything. So you don't go anywhere else to do your striking or your wrestling or anything like that?
No, he has it all there. Like he has Muay Thai coaches come in and stuff like that. So there is striking available. But we're very MMA orientated. So all of our classes are based for MMA. I've got high level training partners, Shada, you know, like Charlie Leary, Mantime Hudson, guys that have fought on the big shows and they're still on the big shows. And they're my main training partners. So
well, Shah No Pain Hussein, when I spoke to him, did you know, brother, that he's getting into a bit of acting as well?
Yeah, I see. I think Dave was telling me the other day that he done like a short clip thing, and the limits are too high for this guy. He's always doing one thing, the next thing he's doing a grappling competition. The guy don't stop. So props to him, you know.
I watched this little clip of him, and he looks good, brother, man. It's got like that Guy Ritchie sort of feel to it. So you should have a look at it, man.
I'll have a little watch.
Well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got it's got like a dry sense of humor to it, you know. So it's funny. It is. You should watch it.
If he gets too famous, just make sure he doesn't forget me. Yeah, I'll have to have a word with him. Make sure he don't forget me.
He will, because he'll change his name to, instead of Shah No Pain, it'll be like Shah No Money Hussein. You know, like I don't know.
He won't even know who I am.
Yeah,
forget me. He won't even know who I am. And he was the one telling me to come on the podcast. But I'll have a little watch of that when I get back.
Brother, your last fight was on Brave Combat Federation 41 against Felipe Silva. Can you tell us how that came about? What sort of preparation and what did you know about Felipe? And then if you can talk us through the fight, please.
Yeah, Felipe Silva, ex-UFC vet, fought in the UFC a few times. He was kind of unfortunate for him in the UFC. He was like winning his fights till he was losing, you know, like he was doing really well. So, God, this pandemic and everything. I was meant to fight in March 2020. That fell through. We went into lockdown and everything in the UK. And then we come out of lockdown June or July. And I was offered to fight in July. Stepped up. That fight fell through. August, meant to fight. And then September come around. And they offered me Felipe Silva. And thankfully, yeah, it was a great platform for me. Obviously, having a first round knockout over Felipe Silva, tough opponent. It just took me to that next level, you know, like during the pandemic and everything went quiet. I wasn't fighting regularly because of the pandemic. You kind of go off the radar. So having such a big profile fight and knocking the guy out, it's like the pandemic never happened and I'm still at the top, you know. So it was a great fight for me and yeah, on to the next one.
Yeah, for sure. Now, with Felipe, did you have a game plan going in? Was your game plan to outstrike him or not?
Yeah, most of my fights, I kind of just do what I do, you know, like I knew Felipe was aggressive and he would come onto my punches. So it was just about baiting him and making him feel that he could get close to me. And when he thought he could get close, I would end up landing the shots I needed to land. But normally my game plan, I just stick to the same. I do what I do and I adapt accordingly. So fighting Felipe, the only thing I knew he was going to do was come forward and be aggressive. And that didn't pay out in his favor because he ended up walking onto my right hand and going to sleep. So yeah.
And which was that, in the first round or?
Yeah, first round. Just get it was. I was actually kind of gutted. I said to my coach after, I was like, all this training, like I stayed busy all year, like even during the pandemic and everything, I was still training. I just wanted to fight and everything. I was out in Thailand at the beginning of the year in a training camp, so I was non-stop the whole way through. And to go in there and finish the fight in like 2 minutes, like I was kind of like, I would have liked a war, and I thought he would be the guy to give me a war. But at the same time, you're not going to complain over a first round knockout, you know, get the fight of the night bonus.
That was on Brave Combat Federation. You've had a couple of fights on there now. Can you tell us how you got the news about Brave Combat Federation to sign with them, and why did you choose to go with them?
Brave, my main training partner, Charlie Leary, actually went on to Brave and he had a few fights on Brave. And from there, really, that's where it came about. I didn't even know about Brave before that. And then my training partner started fighting on there. I took a short notice fight because I basically, my first fight on Brave, I actually lost. The lightweight champion on Fightstar, Hardeep Rai, he was the lightweight champion. I was the welterweight champion at amateur. Then we both went pro and he went on to this big show. And I was like, man, I could beat this guy. Like, I want to fight this guy, you know? So Brave gave me, his opponent fell through and they gave me a short notice fight against him. I think it was like 8 days, 9 days. They offered me to fight him. And I was like, yeah, I'll jump on that show. At this point, I was riding like a 5-fight win streak. And I was like, I'm invincible. This guy won't touch me. And that was the switch for me. Like from amateur to pro, those 4-ounce gloves, and there's nothing on them. It does not take a lot to put your lights out, you know, like compared to the amateur gloves that are 8 ounce and they end up, you can take a bit more, you know. So he caught me, put me down. I wasn't out. I was like rocks. He obviously put me down and the fight got stopped. And I was kind of like what happened here? So instead of getting another fight with Brave, I went away, racked up a few more wins in the UK circuit, and then Brave come back and offered me another fight. And ever since then, I've been winning back to back with Brave, and not feeling like I'm invincible, just like playing the game correctly and respecting the 4-ounce gloves. Now the Hardeep now versus me is totally different. Like what I've went on to do and what he's went on to do is totally different. So it shows just a flash victory for him, and I've went on from there.
Yeah, for sure. And it also shows your resilience, Sam, where you were at a crossroads there where you thought, I've gone on to this big show, it hasn't gone well, maybe this isn't for me, and just kind of withered away. Or you thought, right, I'll dust myself off, get the wins that I need, and now you're showing the hard work that you've put in, right?
100%. And that's thanks to my coach as well. Like that mindset of, oh, no, I fought on the big show, I can't go back and fight on the small shows again. No, I needed to go back. I needed to go realize that respect the pro game, respect the 3 5-minute rounds, not 3 3-minute rounds, and respect the 4-ounce gloves. So going away to the smaller shows, I was still fighting high competition and racking up a few more wins. So when Brave did come back, I was ready to stay there and go to the next level, which I am now. Like this could have never happened if Brave would have come back and went, no, we'll give you a second fight because you took this one last minute. I wasn't ready for that level then. Whereas now I'm all in, like I'm all there, you know. So it was the right decision at the time, and that's thanks to my coach, not just chucking me in there like some coaches do, just chuck you in the deep end.
Now, if there's people who are interested in fighting on certain promotions and someone said to you, what is it about Brave that excited you to go on there? And if somebody wanted to go on Brave, what advice would you give them?
Brave are a top level organization. Like, I've seen other organizations. I've watched, I'm not going to say any names, but I've watched other shows, and they don't look after you the way Brave looks after you. As soon as you step off the plane or wherever you are with the event, you feel like a professional. You don't feel like you're a fighter and you're just getting chucked in to like entertain people. Like, Brave look after you. They make you feel like a professional. Like, all the hard work you put in before, it makes you feel earned. You feel like a true professional, you know. And anyone trying to get on these big shows is like, just rack up, just stay in your lane. Like, it will happen, you know. Like, I'm on Brave now. I have big goals and everything like that, but it's not going to happen overnight. And you just got to keep pushing yourself and rack up wins, and they'll come find you, you know. Like, you can call for the big card like I did and make the mistake of doing it too early and losing, or you can just keep racking up wins, and when they come to you, you'll know that you're ready. So that's all I'd say. And Brave have been great to me, and are a great organization, so can't complain really.
Now, you mentioned your coaches. Along your whole martial arts journey, are there any coaches and mentors that have played a significant part? And if so, who and what role have they played? What role have they played in shaping and molding you into the person you are today?
For sure, like every coach I've had, like I said at the beginning of my career, Corey Tate and Gintas, starting off in MMA, they molded me into an MMA fighter, not a striker, not a grappler. Like, I was like complete mixed martial artist. So from Corey Tate to Gintas to Dave now, Dave is like just the top guy that I need right now to keep me humble and keep me on the the path that I'm on. Them three coaches from a teenager to now, I can't thank enough, you know. Like, not even in martial arts, just as a person, like, staying humble, just keep grinding and be disciplined in all areas of life. Like, I can't thank them enough, because if I didn't go down this road, I could have been on the streets hanging around with the boys that I used to hang around with and getting into trouble, you know. Like, there's nothing else to do, so would cause trouble. Whereas, thanks to my parents putting me into martial arts, and thanks to them coaches keeping me on the path, I am where I am now, and grateful, you know. People cross teams and everything like that. I went from Gindas Combat to Team Crossface, and I've had great coaches along the way, and I would never thank one coach without thanking the other, because I've been in the game for like 10 years now learning, and I've learned from everyone, you know. So,
and so far there's been no temptation for you to do a Mike Platinum Perry and get your girlfriend or anyone else in the corner for you?
Nah, my girlfriend's 100% in on what I do, but she ain't gonna be coaching me. I ain't doing no Mike Perry. David Lee will stay in my corner for now, and Charlie Leary and Reece Stocker are my main coaches, and I keep my family and my training separate.
Sam, we're in this testing time, you know, with the pandemic and everything else, and obviously you're being a professional athlete, you need to keep fit and keep fighting fit. How are you trying to do that during these testing times, and are you able to do that?
Yeah, like thankfully I am able to still train. Not at my normal gym, but we're still getting enough training in that I can compete if Brave come with an opponent for me. Obviously, these testing times, it's not ideal. Like, we're traveling here, there, and everywhere to get the work in, but that's my mindset. I'll get up every morning and do a 5-mile run with or without a fight, and I'll train every day because I love to train. I don't train because I've got a fight coming up and like I need to train. I choose to train, you know, like I love it. So thankfully, I'm still able to train. Like, elite athletes are still allowed to train even during this pandemic. Hopefully we can get out of this and get back to normal, because then I'll be training as normal, and carry on where I left off with great performances.
Sam, you've had loads of fights, my friend. Out of all those fights, have there been any that have been quite rewarding? And if so, it don't have to be some that you won. It don't have to be a financial, although in MMA there isn't much money at a certain level. But is there anything that you might have overcome some adversities, any sort of rewarding fight that you could share with us?
Yeah, like I put down, probably the one that I learned the most of is my loss, my professional loss. Losing that fight, like I said about feeling invincible, I was riding a 5-fight streak. I thought I was the man. Like, I didn't think I could get touched. Watching my fights back then, my chin in the air, compared to what I'm like now, that was probably the most I learned in a fight. The wins are great, but if you sleep on a win, you'll wake up with a loss. I can't remember who said that quote, but I believe that every single day. So I train like I lost my last fight, because you get comfortable winning and the money coming in and everything like that. So every day I train like I lost, so I push myself and I make sure I don't make them mistakes back like I did then. So I put it down to my loss. I've had some great wins, and that's it. I ain't losing again, that's it. I took that one loss, I learned my lesson, and it's wins from here on out. So every single fight from now. It needed to happen. And I know people like get undefeated, like 17-0, 18-0, and then they're riding the pressure of, oh, I can't lose now. In a way, obviously, no one wants to lose. If I could be undefeated, I would love it. But losing early in my career made it better for me now, because I learned the lesson early, and I didn't need to learn it later on the higher level, maybe in the UFC, fighting for Brave and everything. Learning that lesson now could have been a lot worse for me. So I'm kind of glad that I learned it early in my career.
You've had quite a few professional fights, loads of amateur fights, and you're lucky that you're in a prestigious position where you're competing at premiership level in great promotions. If there's other athletes who are just starting and they finished the amateur, they're on about going professional, what advice from your knowledge and experience would you cascade to them?
I would say to them, there's no secret. There's no secret to people that are fighting on this level. It's just hard work. Like when I was fighting amateur, I was training like a professional. I had Charlie Leary, I had multiple training partners to look up to. And instead of thinking, oh, I'm an amateur, I don't need to train as hard, I did train as hard. I wanted to be that level. So all I can say to them is just train hard. There's no secret. Don't feel like the pros have got a secret remedy, or they've got all this. They've probably got more money, so they've got more options. They've got they can have private sessions, they can have private pad sessions, nutritionists and everything. But they started at nothing and they got to where they are. So don't think that you need to have money or have certain talent level. Obviously it helps, but at the same time it's just hard work, and I stand by that to now. From an amateur to now, I stand by hard work. So anyone that knows me knows that I put in those extras and I put in work. I train. I'm not saying no other athlete trains like me, because there's people that train hard, and I agree that all athletes at this level train hard. But it's the extra. It's the extras after the training hard that I don't believe a lot do that I do. And the people around me know that. You see me in the third round, not even breathing heavy. You know that I put in the work beforehand. The Kian fight you see in the third round. We've had 2 hard rounds. My output was crazy, and the third round I'm not even breathing heavy, and that's just the confidence in my work beforehand and the amount of work I put in beforehand.
Well, I look forward to on the next fight, not if, but when you win and they're doing that commentary and the interview in the cage, you can say, look, Safe Khan from Combat Challenge podcast. I told you I was going to do it. I told you.
You just keep watching. Don't worry, mate. You have me on the podcast again, and we'll carry on my career, and we'll talk about it along the way. I'll be happy to come back on the show. You're a great guy, and as my career goes on and your career goes on, we'll talk about these steps and the steps that we go on to the next level.
For sure. Well, the plan is, brother, to have all the athletes back on every 12 to 13 weeks. And to create a bit of a vlog, so over the next couple of years, there'll be a playlist, and you can look back and viewers can look back on your MMA journey as you move on, right?
I think it's a great idea. I think what you're trying to do is a great idea, because what I say now, where I say I'm going to the top and people are saying I'm going to the top, we'll see in 12 months if I stuck it out or I decided to quit. And you'll be able to sift through all the fighters and see who really spoke the real game and who was just talking shit, who really wanted it. Yeah, I think it's a great idea what you're doing. You say you've got so many people on now that in 12 months time, I don't know if you're going to be able to have the same amount of people on, well, best in the game over here.
Brother, when you mention me in that cage interview, I'll have you back on.
Oh, that's what it takes, yeah? No problem. I'll mention you in an interview. No problem.
Sam, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and experience, and I look forward to having you on future podcasts, my friend. Thank you.
My man, thank you very much for your time, and we'll speak again very soon.